Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we are going to kind of piggyback off a stream I just did based on Barbie and the Barbie movie and the different meta, higher consciousness, reality creation and deconstruction that is kind of on display there. And there's a couple things I wanted to hit on here that I felt might get a little lost in that one. I usually don't repeat content, but there's a couple things I wanted to kind of explore a little bit more in a video, and a video has a little shorter video I can put on a couple other places. So I wanted to kind of do that. And I still have on my Barbie makeup, the Barbie makeup look, which is trending now, which is not as easy to do as one might think. There's a lot of highlighter involved, as I said on my stream, so I had to tone down my my lights quite a bit because this is a bright look. Okay, so there was a concept I touched on about reality creation, deconstruction and construction of a reality. And I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. And one of the things I brought up, and like I said, I didn't coin this, and I don't remember where I got it from. I can't 100% remember, but it was something to the extent of, if you felt aligned in your actions, don't judge your actions by someone's response. And to paraphrase that, just because someone doesn't react the way you want them to, does not mean you were not correct in what you thought was aligning, what you thought was going to align in reality for you. A lot of times we're going to align realities that we don't get the response we want from someone else. You know, they don't want to play in that reality. You know, and we get frustrated with that because we feel like we didn't do it right. We didn't align it right. Why don't you want to come in this reality? And why don't you want to play in this reality? You know, what did I do wrong? You were supposed to be here. And there's a lot of you were supposed to be here. When we start deconstructing realities, and I'm going to say deconstructing because it feels a little more empowering to me than, you know, just letting it resolve itself, because we do deconstruct them, whether we're unconsciously deconstructing them or not. Once we remove ourselves from a reality, the whole thing ceases to exist. It deconstructs, right? It's not there anymore. It's like a play. The minute you leave the scene, the whole thing is going to dissolve away. You know, was it ever really there to begin with? You know, there's a lot of different, we can get into this in a lot of deep ways, but there's a lot of different, you know, things, the different phases we're in, that we get to this point where we are reconstructing realities and we don't understand why it didn't work. And this is when I was kind of talking about the Barbie movie, which the video will be up probably before this one will be. So if you want a more in-depth on it, you know, you can go back and check that one out. But in that movie, you know, someone reconstructs reality around how they want it to be, and then let's have everyone else come in and play in this reality. But it wasn't the original construction of the reality. So a lot of times we construct realities to be for us to go through something. And I'm saying that from a higher consciousness, looking at a reality from the way our human consciousness would create it, right? We create a reality where we would stand up for ourselves. We created a reality where we would learn unconditional love. We can even use that one. A lot of times, usually pets are a good pivot we use to kind of learn that lesson, or what does that really mean? Because human love and higher love, or higher consciousness love, source consciousness love, they're completely different spectrums. But we create realities for us to learn and do certain things. You know, a lot of human consciousness is disempowerment. You know, that's how it is. That's what it is. We are disempowered. We are taught to think in a group. You know, we're attached up to different collectives within the human consciousness, and that's what we believe things are supposed to be. And if it's not like that, then we did something wrong. It doesn't look like that, we did something wrong. And where the confusion comes in, and where our self-judgment comes in, because also we're riddled with judgment. Judgment on ourselves is way worse than any judgment from anyone else. Technically, no one else can judge us if we don't judge ourselves. If we don't hold judgment over something we did, there's no reason for someone to judge us. Someone judges us because we still hold judgment on what we just did or what we're doing. So because of that, someone says that to us. So we clear more of the energy we have around it. We clear those feelings we have around it. You'll know you've cleared it when no one else is sitting there saying, oh, you did that, and that's not a human acceptable thing to do. So there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect in what we think it's supposed to look like and what it looks like. So we'll watch a lot of realities where we will start to stand up for ourselves. We'll start to take more ownership in something. We'll start to try to pivot something away from it. We'll start to say no to something we used to do because now we feel like it's not a kind thing to do, or it's not how we want to be. And we might have money attached to it. It might be a job, when certain roles we're playing in a job where we're supposed to be maybe more hard ass, and we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to be unkind to someone. We can start to see where this whole thing doesn't make any sense, and we have to stand up to certain people. A lot of the human realities are standing up to people, speaking directly to people, telling someone how this reality is going to be set up and why it is. In our human realities, we never pre-set anything up, They were unconsciously all set up to play out a certain way, but we didn't say, using our voice, we didn't sit there and say, this is the reality I would like to create, and this is how it's going to be set up. Is this what you want to do? Do you want to participate in it? We never did that. We never did any of the pregame work on that. We would just go into the reality and we assume everyone's on the same page, and let's just go. And the minute someone's not on the same page and everything starts to go sideways, and we even see this when we're starting to rebuild after a lot of ours has collapsed. We go through a lot of iterations like this, right? Okay, well, we seem to all be kind of on the same page, but we didn't actually talk about what page we're going to start at. So now everything starts to be going sideways again, and I don't know why. Or I thought I could stand up for myself in a line of reality, but now everyone in this reality is leaving, or I'm being kind of asked to leave a reality. You're not so much being asked to leave, you're being kicked out of the reality because you have outgrown it. And a lot of things we become comfortable in, humans kind of nest in these realities. We don't want to leave it. It might have not been the best reality, but it was a place to live. It was a place to work. It was a comfort in some way. Whereas once we lose that, we don't know what happens next. We don't know what comes next. We have to start taking a lot on faith. But because it didn't work out the way we wanted it to, we think we did it wrong. We're kind of judging what we did based on someone's response. And there's a lot of that we do for a while until we start to understand, and we get the consciousness to understand that this reality was created for us to do one thing, and the minute we step into that role, we no longer have a purpose to be in that reality. There still might be other people who want to be in that reality that aren't ready to stand up in their role yet. They're not ready to stand up for themselves yet. So that person might leave and go find someone like that is still, and will use that reality to now bring someone else into consciousness, more of a conscious place. Even though they don't realize that's what they're doing, that's their role. But once you've reached that place, there's no point of you being in that reality anymore, and other people don't want to play in that reality with you because you've now reconstructed their reality based on what you want to get out of it. And other people don't want to come into it because that's not where they are. They're not ready for that. There's going to be a lot of the ascension process where, people aren't ready for that. They don't want that yet. They're not interested in that. They don't want to participate in those realities because they still want to be in the human realities. They're not ready for other ones. And even at the time we don't see that there are other realities, even at the time we don't see that they are this or they are that, we just know we don't want to be in that one anymore. But we try to retrofit it all together. I made a comment in the other video I just finished, or the stream I finished, where it's like, hey, everyone's an accessory in a sense to our realities, and we as a human perception, that's all everybody is. And we can try to glam that up and shift that and change, like, oh no, I really care about this person, I really care about that person. We might care, air quote, care about one person over the other, but we still have a cord of attachment to it. It's still tainted. It's still not pure. If you see one person over anyone, if you're looking at what they do for you, or even in the other way, how they make you feel because you do something for them, but it's still back to us. Everyone is kind of a prop for us. And we don't have the capacity to see anybody else. We don't have the capacity to see anyone else in these realities. And the same thing starts to go with them. We start deconstructing them and reconstructing them to fit where we are, our new frequency, which means I can't participate in this anymore. But I'm kind of pissed at you. And then there's this flip where we get, I'm kind of pissed at you because you don't want to come and play in my new reality I just created over here. You want to still want people to play in that one. And because I don't want to play in that reality anymore, no one's over here. And we can get pissed about that. We feel kind of left out. We feel like we weren't welcomed in that. We weren't appreciated. There's a lot of we don't feel appreciated because we don't even get a pat on the back when we're leaving that reality. But if we felt aligned in what we did, and a lot of times it's very clear. You'll just know you can't be in the reality anymore. You'll know, you're trying to retrofit something to fit where you are right now. But if other people aren't there and they don't want to be there, we can't drag them there. And we start to get a chance, and we kind of start to get over the hurt feelings of that and the rejection of that, because we are kind of being rejected from that human consciousness. We start to see a different way around that. We start to kind of get over how we feel about it, because we can see the purpose of why they're not there yet. And we start to see them as more than just props in our reality. Are we looking at all these people as just props? Do we really care how they feel? Because we really care where they were or how they feel or where they were in their journey, what they had to go through on their journey, then we would understand consciously why they can't come play in this over here. We might want it for them, but they don't want it for themselves. They want to still play in this. I had a friend that was very much into rescuing damsels in distress. That was his thing. If you were a damsel in distress, he was going to ride up on his horse. But the minute after that person had come into where they weren't needed, the other person wasn't needed anymore, and they could kind of stand on their own 2 feet, then the whole reality collapsed, because this person wasn't into that. They wanted to continue to play out this role with someone else. So the realities would collapse, because now that you don't require that, or you're not going to stand on your own power here, and you don't need to be air quote rescued anymore. I'm going to go rescue someone else, because I'm getting my sense of worth from doing that. I'm getting my sense of worth from doing it, and I'm still working through that within myself, and I'm not at the consciousness yet. Not to judge where anybody is, but it's not my time yet. I've got to work through this, going through this reality maybe 50 more times. That's probably exaggerated, but it can feel like that after a while. I've got to go through this 50, 60 more times before I'm going to understand that and work through this programming this way. Human consciousness has to work through the program by physically going through it multiple times to clear anything. The higher your consciousness goes, you can get through it a lot quicker. You can get through it more energetically. Sometimes you still might need a mirror of that reality. You might need some type of brief semblance of that reality, but you start to bust through it a lot quicker than having to go through these long, drawn out processes of what these realities were trying to show you, and what these realities were trying to get you to. They're trying to get you to clear all these emotions, step into your power, step through that fear. And the minute we do that, we can have a disillusionment, because, well, this shit's not what I thought it was going to be on the other side. I thought it was going to be a big party, and there'd be streamers, and everyone in that reality is going to be in this one, but everyone's going to be acting a lot better. Better's probably not the word I use, but you get where I'm going with that. But, well, I'm over here by myself. There's nobody in this reality. And why did I leave that one? Because it was time. It was time. And I've gone through a lot of realities like that, where it is a party of one. I can be a party of one for a while, because you're learning to be self-sufficient. You're learning to hold your vibration on your own. And until you can prove you can do it with yourself, you're not going to drag other people in. It's just not time for that yet. So I'm going to make this one quick. I'm going to leave that one here, because I want to post this across a couple places. And I will see everyone next time. Keep practicing the art of intuition.